Today, we're diving into my unused art supply drawer and trying out a product that is in no way outside of my comfort zone: Peerless Watercolor Sheets. Being the silliest of geese, I neglected to make sure my swatches were actually in frame, so here's a close-up of the dried and label swatches. But can we talk about that yellow for a second? She is bright. What makes these different from traditional watercolors is that it's literally pigment on a piece of paper. Peerless watercolors are over 130 years old, and their website offers several color packs, individual sheets, a complete set in a refillable book, and refills. There's even a section on the site where you can flip through an original package of the watercolors, which gives you mixing tip, additional information on the pigments, and more. I chose the complete edition refresher palette because I didn't care if it was in a book, but on second thought, the book might have made a difference in my swatching experience. You can take the color directly from the paper, which I did for the swatches on the right side of the page, or you can cut them into strips to soak in a cup or a palette. What I swatched from the paper started off strong, though the colors were more pastel than I bargained for. Some of them didn't swatch at all. The second technique had a way better color payoff, though to be honest, the pieces I cut were a little bit too big. Turns out a little goes a long way, and I ended up wasting a lot of the pigment. When painting, I like to work wet on dry, then use wet on wet techniques to blend in my colors and make some subtle gradients. The obvious downside to using watercolor is needing to wait for it to dry. And sure, I could blast it with a hairdryer or something, but that still isn't the instant gratification I'm looking for. I did accidentally paint over my highlights, but that's why gouache exists. Lately, I've been a little obsessed with drawing deer girls. I did the first one as a doodle, testing out a rainbow color pencil. I redrew her for Halloween this past year, and now here's a third incarnation. Does it mean anything? Absolutely not. I started with Ripe Peach to shade her skin tone and gradually build up the color, adding in some Japonic Scarlet for blush. I wanted to keep her color palette simple in the orange-purple field, and I layered her hair with Mahogany Brown and added some sepia to darken it. Painting faces is something I'm still pretty new at, and I'm happy with how the shading turned out and the skin tone contrast. The cooler tones really worked well together. I hop around different sections so I can keep working while other areas dry. Like I said, I am incredibly impatient. The Peerless sheets layered really well with each other, and I was able to get a lot of variety in my shades and tones. I'm not a watercolor expert or anything. I learned from a couple of courses on Skillshare and from artists on here like Casey Golden and Emily Artful, so a lot of this is still pretty experimental for me. And here I painted the background gray, which I immediately hated and will cover up later. A good chunk of art making is trusting the process, even when you feel like you've irreversibly fucked it up. Oh, hey, you know what else I regret? Yeah, it's that dark line. I was not feeling the ink pen I was using as a liner. I tried to fix it with gouache. I hated that, and then I just went back to detailing my little deer girl's antlers. I added some colored pencil to enhance the texture and shading and knock in some of the finer details that I couldn't get with any of my brushes. See? When in doubt, paint it black. Overall, I liked the watercolor sheets and I will be using them, but more likely than not, I won't be repurchasing them. Sure, like the colors are gorgeous, they layer well, they take other media well, but swatching from the page isn't easy. Water soaks through pretty quickly. The colors are sometimes difficult to pull off the sheet, and even when the pages are dry, the watercolor transfers onto your hands. It's easy to wash off, and every artist just accepts that at some point they will be covered in paint, whether they were painting or not. But reaching for other things leaves smudges and fingerprints, and the pigment from one of the reds actually stained one of my desk drawers. It's something that bothers me in particular because I don't want to work hard on a painting only to ruin it by accidentally touching it. Honestly, I really want to like those Uniball Signo pens. Sometimes they work great, but it's been like pulling teeth lately. Even my tiny Posca pen kind of sucks, and I could not sign this thing without making an absolute mess. I did intend to add glitter, but I thought that might be overkill, so I went with a few stars and called it a day. I'm pleased with the way the painting turned out. It's been a while since I ventured out beyond sketching in my sketchbook. And it was nice to get to sit down and actually paint something that I thought was relaxing and fun. And here's the point where editing me realized that her camera rig was in the shot the entire time. Look, nobody ever said I was a professional. This is like my 7th video, okay? I'll list everything I used in the description box below, and let me know, have you tried watercolor sheets before? What was your experience? Do you like them? Is there something else I should try? Is there something I should be doing different, or is this media just not for me? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.